G'day my friends, it's a glorious nice day out there here in Melbourne, 10th of July 2026. This is George and I'm going to hit you with another episode of Message of Hope. And the story begins with a little Cessna plane, a Cessna 150, and that's flying at 250 meters above the air. This is over a region of rural Argentina, of course. And the flight instructor himself turns to a student, a 22-year-old lady who had limited hours, and during the mid-set lesson he says, "You know what you have to do, right? Just carry on." It's a very cryptic message there. Then he takes off his headset, unbuckles his seatbelt, incredibly forces the cabin door open against the air pressure at altitude really high, and he steps out. So what on earth was going on there, hey? Tragedy, I say. Now I want to say this plainly before I go any further. What happened to that man is a genuine tragedy, and I'm not here to make light of it, and I'm not here to explain it because I can't. I don't know the background. Nobody outside that cockpit can. And his own flight school director said afterwards, that's impossible to understand. That the human mind is that complicated. Human mind was formed by God, by the way. Man cannot replicate it. So I'll leave it there because that's the truth of it. Anyway, this student, she was alone in the air. Alone with a plane she just had to land for safety. When I was 11, my father sent me into the city alone for the first time. Yeah. Big boy, right? Because it was the school holidays. Now I got there fine. I met him at the shop, so no dramas. The trouble started on the way home though. You're gonna laugh at this. I was on one of those old W class trams, those green trams, right? This is in the very early, it's in the late 70s. So in those trams, it was so old, there was I wonder what airline's above me. Yes, so there's no button to press in order to stop the tram, right? There was a cable along the ceiling, you just had to pull to tell the driver you want to get off. Nobody had properly told me that you have to give it a good yank. Anyway, on first go I pulled it. But much to my shock, the tram sailed straight past my stop anyway. Of course I panicked, a little kid, right? Got further down the line and ran. So it was 2 stops that I missed. And here's the part that still makes me wince a little. Probably cringe-worthy for you. Yeah, I recognised every street I was running through because of course it was my own suburb. I know the shops. I wasn't lost. And I wasn't in danger for even a single second. Yeah. I found out later that the tram probably didn't even stop because of my cord pull. Again, I said 2 stops. 2 stops it stopped because somebody else wanted to get off. So my own signal hadn't done the thing. And I ran home through the streets. I knew from a situation that was never actually a situation, and the one action I've taken to fix it hadn't even worked. That student Rosario didn't run. How could she? She bravely and intelligently flew the plane back down and landed at Coronel Almeida Airport. Sorry if I mispronounce. Thank goodness no damage to the aircraft was done, and not a scratch on her. What an incredible pilot. The man who ran the flight school called it a perfect landing as well, yet done with what he described as a complete professionalism. So Rosario, if you're watching, well done to you. Now, here's what I want to mention. She didn't have him anymore, right? Obviously. What she had was whatever had already been built into her before that door opened. So let me pivot to Psalm 23. Have a listen to this. You'll see why I picked this one today. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Notice the order. Green pastures, still waters, a soul restored. All that happens before the valley shows up. The shepherd doesn't wait for the crisis to start being present. No, he's already there in a calm season, and that's exactly why his presence still holds once the danger is real. Yeah, you have to trust the Lord. And I'll try to be honest about something. I don't know what Rosario believed in that cockpit, or whether she called on anyone at all. She probably did, asking for emergency help. I'm not going to claim that for her. Nobody's reported it, and I won't invent it. What I do know is the pattern in front of us, right? Remember, whatever training, whatever instinct, whatever had already gone in before that flight, that's what carried her down. It's not something she found in a panic, but something already there. Now, I had an insurance account manager tell me something once that I've never forgotten, right? She said, Fiona was her name, she said she hoped I never have to make a claim. What kind of claim? Yeah? Because if I did, it would mean something terrible had happened to me or my family. Speaking of insurance, I had an ex-colleague, right? Pretty sharp, smart bloke. Unfortunately not a Christian, and not exactly humble either. He once told me insurance was no different from gambling. How's that, my friend? How? You're betting against your own house burning down, he said. Feels like a clever line the first time you hear it, isn't it? But a bet is something you can walk away from. You sure can. I remember sitting there filling out the paperwork for life cover, my trauma cover, income protection, the hot hamburger, the lot. And I genuinely, some of the most boring forms I've ever signed in my life, sure. Nothing about it felt urgent that afternoon, but a family with a mortgage still owing and one income earner suddenly gone can't walk away from anything. Yes, the account manager wasn't selling me a bet that day. She was telling me plainly that this only pays out on the worst day of someone's life, and she'd rather I never needed it. Now, I've lost work more than once in my career, and on more than one of those occasions, it was my wife's income that carries us through while I found my feet again. You know, I wasn't prepared to claim out insurance. It wasn't worth it at that time. Now, that wasn't luck. It was just boring paperwork, signing in a calm season, waiting quietly for a day we hope would never arrive. I'm going to finish up, guys. But if the personal income you're currently leaning on disappeared today, do you actually have what you need to bring the plane down safely? Your version of the plane. Yeah, not 3 things, just one. So, doing this video, I think about that tram door I never even needed to open for me. Nothing was wrong. I rang anyway through my own streets because I hadn't taken in what I needed for that moment. Summarize, a man opened a real door at 250 meters above the air and stepped through it. Meanwhile, the young woman pilot he left behind carried on and brought the plane down without a scratch. Well done to you, Rosario. I hope you enjoyed today's analogy. And that's today's message of hope. Thank you so much for coming with me. I'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. Goodbye.